From July 18th of 2009 to April 5th of 2010, the One Piece manga would display one of the greatest arcs, not just in the series, but in all of fiction, Marineford. This arc was jam-packed with action, lore, and emotional moments. There are so many aspects of this arc for you to enjoy. A year later, the anime would catch up and produce this arc in animated form. If you are new to the community and One Piece, you might not know there are a number of moments the anime got wrong. Not only that, but some moments and characters are even perceived in a very poor light when it comes to their scaling. Today, I am going to be going over the things you may have not noticed or got wrong about Marineford. Before we get in, go ahead and subscribe. I give you peak videos weekly you won't want to miss. We both get a win out of it. Within the beginning moments of this arc, we see what the stakes are at the line. Ace is going to be executed by the world government. However, the Navy is aware that Whitebeard and his crew will most likely attempt to free him and escape. They brought in some of the strongest pirates that roam the seas to prevent this, the Seven Warlords, a group of pirates that will fight alongside the Marines when needed in exchange for not being targeted and being able to get certain paths easier than most pirates would get. Alongside this are the Admirals, stated to be the strongest force of the Marines several times, alongside thousands of soldiers, Vice Admirals, and Pacifistas, all to stop this man Whitebeard and his crew. Now, with all these major forces being assembled to take on this one man and his crew, a lot of people are of the idea this is the strength of a Yonko, that this is the minimum requirement to take down an emperor and his crew. This is very false. If you aren't aware, Oda tends to never let characters go all out at times. However, he doesn't do this without making a reason to do so. The Admirals specifically are Logia Devil Fruit users. Them using an Awakened or going all out will destroy Marineford and the thousands of soldiers and bystanders in the progress. Akainu even states before stopping Jose's attack that nobody will be able to protect this place if we're all going all out to fight. If you happen to disagree with this, take a look at Punk Hazard. When Akainu and Aokiji fought, the entire island's climate, the way it will be, has been entirely altered by Akainu and Aokiji's fight. If they were to use this strength during Marineford, everyone who is not a top tier or has the hacks to escape will get burned or frozen alive. The entire purpose of these forces aren't to go all out and kill Whitebeard, but to protect Marineford. This isn't even the only showing of holding back, as Whitebeard himself is stated to be sick and is in his prime. However, in an SBS novel by Oda himself, he states, old characters never actually lose their strength and keep their strength or AP from when they were in their prime. Yes, their other stats would decrease, but their strength is stated to be the same. If you don't agree, then you are going to have no choice but to literally argue with the author about his own story, and that will not go well for you. Anyways, before we can go on to Whitebeard, what can his crew do? Well, his crew can somewhat hold their own, as Marco can stop Kizaru's named attack as well as one from Akainu, but this is way more due to his hacks than anything else. Speaking of which, he has his moments with Kizaru throughout this arc I would like to discuss, as he first starts clashing with Kizaru after blocking his attack, in which he attempts to land a mean kick that is blocked by Kizaru, which Kizaru goes on to say, "This is pretty effective," to Marco immediately calls cap. Kizaru lands aggressively down on the battlefield, but this wasn't because of Marco's kick, it was just him going back down at light speed for whatever reason. He has a very similar moment with Aokiji later on in the war, as when Aokiji is about to slime Luffy, he gets off guard by Marco and gets kicked out of the way, but it is shown that Aokiji doesn't take much to any damage at all. Seemingly, Kizaru one-shots Marco with a little laser, as without his regeneration, he can't take these simple point-and-shoot attacks. Even Kizaru straight up says it as he again trolls him. Kizaru was also the only other significant character to damage Whitebeard outside of Akainu, and I guess Blackbeard, even though Whitebeard was dead by then. Something the anime massively got wrong with this is when Luffy is running to Ace, Kizaru attempts to stop him until Whitebeard interferes. This is all fine, this actually did happen. But what is massively different is in the anime, Kizaru falls over and becomes overwhelmed. In the manga, he simply avoids a slash by morphing his body, which is a sign of advanced Haki we'll get into later, and shoots a laser through Whitebeard's chest and has him kneeling. These show very different moments, and shows Kizaru is also enough to hold his own with Whitebeard in a fight, whether you like it or not. The anime tends to downplay the Admirals, but Oda, the creator of the series, loves them, and Akainu especially. Like, what other author has called someone the most handsome man in the series? If you look through Oda's statements about Akainu, which we'll get into in a moment, he wanks this man like he himself is an Admiral Stan. Whitebeard's other noticeable crewmates are Diamond, Jozu, and Vista, who both have a run-in with a very controversial figure in One Piece's power system, Mihawk. These interactions will have people stretch the limits so much when it comes to Mihawk slander. They love to point out his no-name slash on Jozu being ineffective, as if he isn't one of the most durable characters in One Piece, and being crazy durable is his whole shtick. He also clashes with Vista, who is stated to match Mihawk's skill. Now, quick note here, Mihawk isn't the most skilled swordsman, he is the strongest. Even if you want to go against this in the support of a certain rat, when his cross-skill bounty is revealed, we see he is stated to have greater skill than Shanks. So, if Vista's skills are equal to Mihawk, who is greater than Shanks, you see where I'm going at. This isn't really a down fee for Mihawk, it's a down fee for Shanks. Oh yeah, if you couldn't tell, I'm out for blood this video. He doesn't even do anything special than some more non-named attacks. By the way, these no-named attacks are enough to slice through Aokiji's frozen waves that were ginormous in size, trying to attack Luffy, who he was just testing throughout his fight. And even when Daz Bone stops his attack and tries to fight him, he gets no-dipped. Like, Mihawk just views him as an inferior bug like he does anybody else. And then he clashes with Crocodile. No inch of damage was dealt to him this entire arc, and the slander he gets is so undeserving and has me thinking some people just never watched or read the series. Now that we have seen what his crewmates can do you guys really think that Whitebeard alone can carry his crew to such degree that it's required for all this to take down one man? No. If you have one fighter who can compete, you can beat them. They don't need to be jumped. It's just easier and smarter, reminding you guys, this is a show about pirates. They are not here to play fair. They will jump you. I mean, look at the Blackbeard pirates, for example. Whitebeard's fight with any admiral, especially Akainu, was getting no assistance from any outside force to begin with, as Akainu steps in and stops Whitebeard's sword, which was applied with quake bubbles and haki, and is also stated to be a black blade itself. Akainu stopped that sword with all those amps with just his foot, and after a magma fist and a quake clash, Whitebeard starts to kneel in pain, which Akainu buries a hole right through his chest. But I will recognize he only really started to kneel due to his illness, as it stated this is just what Marco was worrying about. Outside of being not only trying to protect the active town that is subsided within Marineford, Akainu has to protect the Marines surrounding him. He can't do what he could do at his full strength due to these limitations, just how his Whitebeard has limitations as well. He is still winning this fight currently. Their second round would be after Akainu opens up his donut shop by killing Ace right in front of Luffy and Whitebeard. He is going after Jinbei, who is carrying Luffy, when suddenly Whitebeard sneaks up and pops Akainu. This scene is also very different in the anime than it is in the manga, and portrays two different things, as it shows Akainu being scared, seemingly aware of the monster Whitebeard behind him. However, in the manga, Akainu wasn't aware whatsoever and was actually snuck by Whitebeard. His first hit on Akainu, by the way. Not only this, but Akainu gets back up right away and punched off half of Whitebeard's face. In the anime, this is also incorrect, as half of Whitebeard's beard is gone, I guess. And I don't need to point out the difference between half your beard blown off and half your fucking face. It's a clear night and day difference. Again, the anime adds this filler scene of Whitebeard fending off Akainu with just his arm and also catching him and throwing up in the air, when that never happened once in the manga. What really happened is, after Akainu burned half his face off, Whitebeard countered with a move that a few seem to think is the finishing blow that grants Whitebeard victory. Nah, this is not the case, as Akainu isn't knocked out or incapacitated, as we see Akainu do the classic "Why you?" and the surrounding Marines fall into the hole that was created by the attack that Akainu seemingly fell into. Akainu didn't fall into this hole, no. He was shown that he burrowed a hole and actually got right back to action, stopping the entire Whitebeard fleet getting behind him. He didn't fall into this hole. If he did, he would have fell and drowned to death because he's a fucking devil fruit user. This happens within barely a few minutes as Blackbeard pops right out and immediately gets to work on Whitebeard, or the other way around kinda. But quickly the tables turn when the Blackbeard pirates light Whitebeard up more than the night sky on 4th of July and ended him. Akainu is already back up, ready to fight an entire fleet within 4 to 5 minutes max. Remember how I said Whitebeard would keep his strength from his prime because of this statement by Oda? Well, this would mean this attack also possessed the same strength from Whitebeard in his prime and would also indulge a rage boost since he just killed Ace before this, and obviously Whitebeard would be very pissed about Ace perishing a few feet in front of him. Whitebeard only was able to land 2 hits on Akainu that was only shown to make him bleed. Meanwhile, Akainu was able to burn a hole through his chest that burned his organs and half his fucking face off. As much as Toei tried to make it seem, and as much as Yonko Tars will cope, Akainu always had the upper hand against Whitebeard. This isn't just crazy glazing on my end for Akainu, as Oda himself might, and yes, I will challenge you, Oda, to a glaze for glaze, might wank him more than even I do. As he states, he has the highest AP amongst Devil Fruit users, would conquer the Grand Line and find the One Piece within a year of real life time to write and finish the story, so 35 chapters, supposed to the 20 plus years and 1,000 plus chapters we have had that is going on with Luffy, meaning within the time he would defeat all Yonko, so Kaido, Big Mom, Shanks, Blackbeard, and yes, even you Whitebeard, and find the One Piece. Considering he would need to find the poneglyphs, I mean, like I said earlier, the man is canonically the most handsome man in One Piece, stated by Oda himself. He is the One Piece world's cherished one. Like, come on, man, stop downplaying this bad. It's so foolish. There is the argument that Whitebeard wasn't using Haki, which is completely wrong, by the way, as admirals are Logias and would need Haki to be hit in the first place. Speaking of Haki, a lot of people assume Oda actually doesn't like the admirals because of a false belief the admirals don't have Haki. They 100% do, and even have advanced forms of Haki, as we see them use Rio to prevent Whitebeard's attack from destroying Marineford. They also showed advanced observation when Aokiji and Kizaru get struck by Whitebeard, but morph their bodies to avoid this in the same way Katakuri does. Akainu shows it when Marco and Visa attempted to double attack him, but he morphs to avoid it and even states out, Haki users, eh? Literally showing they use Haki, and Akainu morphed his body to avoid it, just like Katakuri does. The conquerors we will be shown they have in the future, especially Akainu. Just wait, my fellow Admiral enthusiast. Just wait, don't worry. Be patient. We got this. The last thing I want to talk about is the red-haired pirate showing up. There were the guys, specifically Shanks, to put an end to the war. There are a few things to address within their arrival. Before we get into the more meatier parts, I want to discuss Databook Man pointing a blick at Kizaru and telling him, don't move. The fact that people will see this and think Kizaru is scared is hilarious, because all you have to do is watch the following moments. Kizaru trolls again, talking about some, ooh, Ben Beckman, how scary. And after he is told not to move, he quite literally does that and shoots at the Polar Tang, which is a lost ship that has Luffy in it, which is escaping. He clearly isn't scared of Beckman. Beckman watches him do this and does nothing, by the way. Now, Shanks, the rat, the man that everyone loves to meet ride. As Akainu is about to murk Kobe for getting in his way, Shanks sneaks up and stops his fist. This is another Yonko sneaking up on an admiral. People tend to use a word they have no clue the definition of and say he blitzed Akainu. Yeah, no, this was a sneak. He popped up out of nowhere in the middle of a war. It was a sneak. This didn't even threaten Akainu, who still wanted to fight the Red Hair Pirates. It's only because of Sengoku, who at the time had more authority than Akainu due to his previous position as the fleet admiral. This war wasn't stopped due to Shanks being too strong. No, this was because of Shanks having some sort of political power that is clearly shown when he meets the Gorosei. Shanks isn't the powerhouse that stops the war, he's the peacemaker that ends it, which actually follows the mythology that he represents. You probably noticed in this video I did hype up the admirals plenty, and yes, I did, as they rightfully should be. Yet they aren't, for terrible French reasons. It's not crazy for me to say Akainu beat Whitebeard. When analyzing it, he did win, and in fact, the admirals are stated to be the strongest force the Marines have, meaning guys like Garp and Sengoku, who are weaker than them. Those same guys are stated to rival Whitebeard, especially in their primes. So we all need to realize that the admirals are still here for a reason. I hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you did. I can do this type of video on Wano, and I would like to do one on Egghead when it is done. Let me know if you would like that. Shout out to Sumo Llama on Twitter for making this thumbnail. Hit him up on Twitter. If you are a content creator, he has made great thumbnails that has helped my friends' channels massively. Follow me on Twitter at Vertex_ for more of my takes. Hit that sub button and drop a like. And without further ado, you guys can get